So UFC 314 has just taken place. Obviously, this is not my usual setup. I am currently in Vegas, but the daily uploads have to continue. So UFC 314 just took place. One of the best cards in a while, honestly. Might be the best card of the year. I think it's going to be hard to top that one. There were 13 fights in total with 7 finishes on the card. Let's start right away with the main event, which was Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Finally, Volkanovski has made his return to the octagon, and what a performance that was. There were some shaky moments in there, yes, but Volkanovski clearly won that matchup, in my opinion. I thought Volk took rounds 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, round 1, that was a convincing Volkanovski round. Round 2, that is where Diego Lopez caught Volkanovski and dropped him. Now, Lopez kind of had the bigger moments, you would say, but Volkanovski was just more consistently winning throughout the fight, if that makes sense. Round 2, Diego Lopez really did catch Volkanovski, and at that point, I thought it was fucking good night for Volkanovski. Volk got caught leaning back. Diego Lopez caught him with a big right hand. Lopez must carry some serious power, because he done some serious damage to Volkanovski's face in there. But Volkanovski throughout the fight showed that he isn't chinny and he isn't washed. He beat the washed allegations. Great performance. It didn't play out how I thought it would. Now, in my predictions video, I did say that Volk would have to come through some adversity, and that he did. But I thought Diego Lopez would have slowed down massively in the later stages of the fight, and that just didn't happen. And I was basing that off his last 2 performances, which were 3-round fights against Brian Ortega and Dan Ige. Yeah, it was Brian Ortega and Dan Ige. Brian Ortega was the UFC 306 performance, but Diego Lopez looked good in there. His striking, everybody knew going into it he wasn't going to be as technical as what Volkanovski was. He couldn't really get anything off. Volkanovski got consistent shots. He was landing the jab and the inside low kick, where Diego Lopez didn't really have there was a shot that he was constantly landing. There wasn't really that for him, although he did throw some good calf kicks, but for some reason just kind of neglected them as the fight went on. He showed really good takedown defense in there as well. I think Volkanovski shot 10 takedowns throughout the fight and was able to get 1, but Volkanovski started off the fight really well. Volkanovski done a good job of ducking underneath Diego Lopez's shots as well, and Lopez has a crazy chin on him. The amount of shots he was able to take off Volkanovski, and I know Volkanovski isn't typically known as a massive puncher, but Volkanovski has put away some serious guys throughout his MMA career. In fact, Volkanovski has more KO/TKO wins throughout his MMA career. He's actually got more, than Diego Lopez does, and Diego Lopez actually has more fights in his MMA career than what Volkanovski does. But overall, great performance. Round 2, that was the shaky one. Volk was dropped. Round 3, Volkanovski. Actually, in between rounds 2 and 3, when Volk was back with his corner and he was asking stuff like, what was that dropped me? I thought, right, this is it. It's over. Volkanovski doesn't even know where he is. He's asking questions like, what was that caught him? It's not looking good. But round 3, Volkanovski came back really composed in there. Had a really good round 3. Round 4 was really shaky for Volkanovski. You thought it was an eye poke. It actually wasn't. It was just a glazing shot that Lopez was able to land on the eye of Volkanovski. And then he caught him with that rear uppercut. Volk has a chin. I know he was on a 2-fight KO losing streak, but Volkanovski's chin is still intact. He took some of Diego Lopez's biggest shots and still kept moving forward. What a performance. But yeah, when that uppercut landed, and I actually thought that uppercut was going to be the shot that if Volk was going to get KO'd, that would have been the KO shot. I thought Diego Lopez, especially when Volkanovski kept shooting for takedowns but failing them, coming up, trying to get a body lock, I actually thought Volkanovski, there was a chance that he was going to get hit with that rear uppercut, similar to what we seen Diego Lopez land on Sadiq Yusuff at UFC 300, but that just wasn't the case. Great performance from Volkanovski. Round 5, Volkanovski won that round clearly as well. Diego Lopez throughout the fight, especially near the end, was kind of aura forming by shouting in Volkanovski's face and stuff like that, but Volkanovski stayed composed. Diego Lopez kept trying to do the Max Holloway stuff, trying to draw him into a fight, and Volkanovski, when he was actually thinking of what he was doing throughout the fight, was clearly winning it, and I thought he could have clearly won this fight even more. But whenever Diego Lopez would get hit, Diego Lopez would try and initiate with Volkanovski to try and create these scrappy moments, and that is where Lopez had his success, and that is what he had to do. But Volkanovski, I think he's hurt his hand, he said. He's cut up, he's got stitches. He's going to be out for a while, I think. I'm not too sure. I know he said he wanted to be active, and Volk usually was active, but we know Movsar Evloev has to be next for him. What's next for Diego Lopez is the Yair Rodriguez matchup. That's just obvious. That is the fight to make next. We've seen the build-up between both guys. And if the leak that happened on the Lerone Murphy, Josh Emmett card is true, that Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira are headlining UFC Noche, then this is the perfect co-main event for that card. I think that there would be an amazing main and co-main event. There's going to be bad blood going into that from Oliveira and Topuria, and the bad blood between Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez. That there would be a massive fight night, because I don't think it's a pay-per-view. I actually do think it is a fight night this time round. Volkanovski, Movsar Evloev, it's kind of hard to say. I don't know if Volk broke his hand or not. It's kind of hard to say, but what a win from Volkanovski. He is back. Moving on to the co-main event, Paddy Pimblett. What a performance. There's no questions on how good Paddy Pimblett is anymore. This guy's elite. Get that Jared Gordon fight out of your memory. This guy's completely evolved from then. I actually went terrible on predictions tonight, I'm going to be honest. They were awful. I thought Michael Chandler was going to stop Paddy Pimblett. I thought it was going to be like a controversial stoppage, but I thought Michael Chandler was going to time Paddy Pimblett over the top. First off, at first glance, when were people going to inform me that Paddy Pimblett should actually be fighting in the heavyweight division and not lightweight? Because the size difference between both guys was insane. It was nuts. I mean, this fight, a lot of people did pick Paddy Pimblett to win. Paddy was the favourite, but no one predicted this fight to go the way it did. Nobody. I mean, Paddy Pimblett dominated Michael Chandler from start to finish. And Chandler, yes, I know he hasn't had these like a big win streak in the UFC, and his best win is over Dan Hooker, and that was like 95,000 years ago, but he's been in there with the best. He has been in there with the best, like Dustin Poirier. He nearly had Dustin Poirier out of there in their fight, if you remember. Same with Justin Gaethje, same with Oliveira first time round. And Paddy Pimblett just went in there and absolutely blitzed them. Now, how the judges gave Michael Chandler the first round, I'll never understand. Paddy Pimblett done a really good job early on in the fight of landing the low kicks inside and outside. Paddy Pimblett's striking just looks so wrong, but it just is so right. Like, it works from the way he's throwing punches. You're just like, what is that? But it's working. It's working. He was tagging up Michael Chandler. Those low kicks from Paddy Pimblett as well. Michael Chandler, if I remember correctly, went for like a big slam type thing. That was kind of the only success Michael Chandler had, was just picking up and dumping Paddy Pimblett to the mat. But when he took him down first time around, and he was on the side of Paddy Pimblett was in like the turtle position. Michael Chandler didn't get anything off. In fact, Paddy Pimblett was working towards a Kimura in there. Round two, kind of the same stuff. Paddy Pimblett just piecing up Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler had nothing going for him, and even when his corner was giving him advice like stop moving back, cut off in the angles, go to the body and then go up to the head, stop throwing one singular shot. It was just in one ear, out the other. Michael Chandler just couldn't get anything going, and you have to give that credit to Paddy Pimblett, because his fight style, his striking is so awkward. It looks so wrong, but it just is so right. And when Paddy Pimblett was able to initiate his grappling as well, we seen what happened. I mean, he beat the living piss out of Michael Chandler. I mean, that was domination from start to finish. We have never seen Michael Chandler in the UFC. In fact, maybe throughout his career, ever be dominated like that before. Yes, he's been stopped early and stuff like that, but nobody's actually dominated him like that. Paddy Pimblett beat him to a pulp. Really bad damage as well. And then that knee, the way Paddy Pimblett timed that knee, I thought Paddy Pimblett was going to gas. I was basing this off. I thought Paddy was going to be able to hurt Michael Chandler, but I thought he was going to try and look for the finish, similar to what he'd done against Tony Ferguson, and gas himself out. And that's where I thought Michael Chandler was going to find that shot to put away Paddy Pimblett. But Paddy Pimblett's cardio was on point. He absolutely dominated. I cannot stress that enough. He dominated Michael Chandler in there. Michael Chandler didn't even stay around to say see you at the top. Maybe his slogan's changed now to see you at the hospital, or see you in the unranked area of the UFC's lightweight division. I don't know what his new slogan's going to be, but he took a lot of damage in there. I think Michael Chandler is extremely annoying, to be honest, but that guy delivers every single time he fights. He's never had a boring fight in the UFC, if we're being honest, and this was no different. And most of the time, it's him on the receiving end of some crazy punishment. Now, Paddy Pimblett did call out anybody inside the top 5. You've got your Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje was one that he called out as well. I think he might get the Arman Tsarukyan matchup. That seems to be the one he has a good bit of beef with. Obviously, you've got Ilia Topuria, but I think they're going to do Ilia versus Charles, and unfortunately, Islam versus Gaethje next, and that would then leave Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan is a really tough matchup for Paddy Pimblett, but after seeing Paddy's performance, it's really hard to just count him out now. Like, that was domination. Really was. Paddy Pimblett showed that he is elite and he is here to stay. Moving on into the feature fight was Yair Rodriguez versus Pitbull. Another wrong prediction on my behalf. I actually think on the main card, the only prediction I got right, in fact it was Volkanovski to win. That was my only prediction I got right. Yair Rodriguez, Patricio Pitbull. I always wanted to see the guy in the UFC. I think he's left it too late now. Was very slow to get started. Just let Yair Rodriguez just go at his pace. He had moments in there where he caught Yair Rodriguez, but he never really followed up after he caught him. Landed a couple of takedowns, was bitching about some back of the head shots, I think it was, when Yair was on, when Pitbull took down Yair, and he was kind of going down the Kamaru Usman playbook. You know, Yair would kick him in the body and then he was saying it was a nut shot. Also, Michael Chandler, that low blow Michael Chandler done on Paddy Pimblett, that was intentional, 100%. There's no way that he was aiming for his body, his leg, there was nothing. He literally just booted Paddy Pimblett in the balls, and Paddy Pimblett called him a dirty bastard. And Michael Chandler has that reputation. This guy is a dirty fighter. He will do anything to win. Unfortunately, when he does these tactics, he never wins. But that is just something to take into account. That low blow, I want to talk about that. That there was that was intentional, 100% intentional. But back to the feature fight, Yair Rodriguez, Patricio Pitbull. Yair Rodriguez was just lighting him up. Pitbull had moments, landed a couple of takedowns, didn't do much with the takedowns. Yair Rodriguez caught him with a nice 1-2 in round 3. Pitbull did nearly snatch up an armbar, but Yair Rodriguez just outclassed him. That was it, really, just outclassed him on the feet. That was it. Now, afterwards, Yair Rodriguez said Hunter Campbell promised him that if he won this matchup, he'd fight for the belt next. So Hunter Campbell needs to be released from the UFC immediately, because why the fuck would Yair Rodriguez, who hasn't had a win in years, get a fight for the belt? In my mind, Hunter Campbell was relying on Lopez to beat Volkanovski, and that's going to be why Yair was told that, because outside of that, it doesn't make any sense. The matchup to make now is Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez, Movsar versus Volkanovski. That's how you book the UFC's featherweight division. And after seeing Volkanovski's performance, I know we're kind of jumping about the place here, I would have loved to have seen the rematch with him versus Ilia Topuria, with Volk not coming in too quickly after that KO. I'd like to see if it's different, honestly, because that Volkanovski there was top class. Moving on to another fight, Gene Silva might be, I fucking hate Gene Silva. I know a lot of people don't like Bryce Mitchell because of what he said, and the media's kind of giving him a lot of backlash with what he has said. I mean, you had Ariel Helwani, you had fucking Dave Portnoy out of Barstool Sports, how would you call him? Fuck Ariel Helwani, fuck Dave Portnoy, and fuck Gene Silva. Gene Silva sitting there barking at Bryce Mitchell when he's out cold, barking on the cage. I fucking cannot stand Gene Silva, and I cannot wait. Do you know what actually needs to happen next? A lot of people won't like this, and this might ruin what my next video is going to be, which is fights to make after UFC 314. But let's get Aljamain Sterling in there with Gene Silva. I want to see Aljamain Sterling fucking ragdoll this guy. I want to see Aljamain Sterling ragdoll Gene Silva, or give him Bran Ortega, because I think Bran Ortega could probably stop him, to be honest. Ortega's a big puncher, big for the division, and a really good grappler, but Gene Silva looked good. Didn't play out how I thought it would. I thought Bryce Mitchell would have been able to take down Gene Silva at will. Didn't happen. I don't know what happened with Bryce Mitchell, to be honest. I don't really understand his game plan. I thought he would have been very grappling dominant in this matchup, and it just didn't work out for him. But Bryce Mitchell will be back. He's a good God-fearing man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for Gene Silva as well. I know I said I hate him, but the guy is a fun fighter to watch. Hate's maybe a strong word. Strongly dislike is maybe the word I'd go for. I also hated how this matchup was portrayed, like, you know, of him saying he's supporting Israel, and you had that fucking clown Dave Portnoy, like, like, what do you even call it? Waving, I'm fucking so jet lagged, waving the Israeli flag in the matchup and all, fucking clown. Everybody who just, like, it's a fight. These guys are fighting. Let's stop making it so political. Like, how have anyway, let's just move on. Let's just move on from that. Fuck Gene Silva. Moving on to the main card opener, we had Dominic Reyes, Nikita Krylov. What a knockout from Dominic Reyes. He is well and truly back. The title starts now. The title chase starts now. He made call-outs of Rakic, the winner of Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree. I think he said, did he add Yuri Prohaska in there? I think he did. Stay away from Yuri would be my recommendation. And look to fight Alexander Rakic. I think that is a very winnable matchup for Dominic Reyes. I think that's who you should be targeting. You also have the rematch against Jan Blachowicz, but again, I understand we don't want to constantly see all these rematches, so I would maybe like the idea of him versus Rakic. The guy has serious punch power, and it's crazy to think what confidence can do again, because this guy went from being knocked out to Ryan Spann. Ryan fucking Spann knocked this guy out to what he's doing now, beating Nikita Krylov, who's extremely underrated in my opinion. Nikita Krylov does need to be a bit more active now. I mean, that time off, I know there was issues with his country and stuff. That was never going to help him. But Dominic Reyes looked really good in there. In terms of what else I want to talk about, Dan Ige, the closer we got to the Dan Ige-Sean Woodson matchup, my prediction was changing to Dan Ige by decision. Obviously, that didn't happen. Dan Ige got the stoppage, but a terrible stoppage. I mean, Sean Woodson was in for a takedown. The takedown was stuffed by Dan Ige. Dan Ige was just landing the shots to the side. Sean Woodson was standing up. He wasn't staggering. He wasn't hurt. A really weird stoppage from the referee. It was shit, to be honest, a shit stoppage. But after that, I'm trying to really think. I'll be honest, I didn't really get to see much of the early prelims because I was travelling and stuff. I got to see all of the main card, and I got to see the Dan Ige-Sean Woodson matchup. Obviously, I know how the other fights ended up. You got Dumas, he got KO'd in the first round. Tresean Gore got KO'd. Yao Jiannan, she lost by decision. I didn't get to see that matchup, but I can't imagine I missed much there. But overall, UFC 314 delivered. Let me know your opinions on the card in the comments below. And as always, thanks for the support. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'll see you all again in the next one.